gather round. For the tale I have to share is one of defiance, strength, and the fire that burns within a warrior's heart. It takes place in the heart of Ionia, where the winds carry whispers of ancient traditions and fierce rebellion. So, listen closely, for the story of Akali is not just a tale of battle. It's a story of breaking free, embracing change, and becoming the master of one's own fate. This is her story.
I remember the first time I felt it, the frustration, the fire burning inside me. I had been trained to uphold balance, to defend the teachings of the Kinkou, but it wasn't enough. Every day I spent meditating in silence, every day I followed the rules. It felt like I was losing a part of myself. I wasn't born to hide in the shadows, to live a life of restraint. Balance above all, they would say. But I started to wonder, what if balance wasn't enough? What if it's time for something more, something new? I couldn't ignore the feeling. The world outside the Order was changing, and I was changing with it. The Order's teachings felt ancient, like shackles around my soul. And those chains weren't just holding me back, they were suffocating me.
Akali was born in the tranquil land of Ionia, a place where peace and balance were cherished above all. From a young age, she was chosen to train as a member of the Kinkou Order, an elite group of warriors dedicated to maintaining harmony in the world. Under the watchful eyes of her mentors, Akali was molded into a skilled fighter, taught the ancient arts of combat and stealth. But as she grew older, Akali began to feel a deep unease. The rigid rules of the Kinkou Order, designed to preserve balance, felt stifling to her. She was a warrior at heart, untamed, passionate, and unwilling to be bound by the old ways. Her internal conflict grew, as did her desire to step beyond the constraints of her teachings. As Akali's discontent grew, so did her determination. She began to question the very foundation of the Kinkou Order. The more she trained, the more she realized that her heart and mind could not be confined to a single path. She sought answers not in the traditional teachings, but in the streets, the shadows, and the turmoil of the world beyond. One day, during a mission to deal with a group of rogue assassins, Akali made a decision that would alter her fate forever. She left the Kinkou Order behind. No longer bound by their expectations, Akali embraced the freedom of the rogue. No longer an assassin of the Kinkou, but a warrior with a new purpose.
I still remember the day I left. The elders. They tried to stop me. They told me I was betraying everything I had been taught. But I knew deep down that I was choosing my own path. It felt like a weight had been lifted from my chest the moment I stepped away from the Order. "You will regret this, Akali," my mentor had said, his voice heavy with disappointment. Regret? I wasn't going to regret finding my own way. I had never asked for their approval. All I wanted was to be true to myself. The world outside was chaotic. The Kinkou Order couldn't preserve balance if they were too afraid to move forward. And if I was going to make a real difference, I had to start by breaking free. From that moment, I swore to never be bound again.
Akali's decision to leave the Kinkou was not one made lightly. She knew that her actions would cause a rift between her and those she once called family. The elders were not forgiving of her choice, branding her as a traitor to their cause. Yet, Akali was resolute. She continued to roam Ionia, now a rogue assassin, using her skills not just for the protection of the land, but to right the wrongs that the Kinkou Order had overlooked. Her journey was filled with conflict, both external and internal. She faced enemies from all sides, fellow Kinkou warriors who still believed in the Order's teachings, and rogue elements who saw her as an outsider. But the fire inside Akali burned brighter with each battle. She was no longer a servant to a tradition. She was a force to be reckoned with.
I fought many battles since I left the Order. The Kinkou's grip on me is long gone, but sometimes I can still feel their eyes watching from the shadows, waiting for me to fail. But they won't get that satisfaction. I've become something else, something stronger. I've learned that balance isn't about maintaining the status quo. It's about adapting to what the world demands. It's about standing up for what's Right, even when it means breaking the rules. I'm not bound by tradition anymore. You've lost your way, Akali, they said. You've become something different, and I have. And I'll never apologize for it.
In time, Akali's reputation grew. She became a symbol of defiance, not just against the Kinkou, but against the world that sought to impose its will on her. She remained a protector of Ionia, but now she fought for a different kind of balance, one not built on tradition, but on the strength of the individual. Her journey was far from over. There would always be those who sought to control her, to push her back into the fold. But Akali had learned long ago that her path was her own, and no one would dictate her destiny.
I fought too hard to let anyone push me back. The Kinkou can label me a traitor, the world can call me a rogue, but I know who I am. I am Akali, and I don't answer to anyone but myself. The road ahead is uncertain. But one thing is clear. I will keep moving forward with my blades in hand and my heart set on the truth. I'll never let anyone define me again.